Dr. Eyerman, you've been working directly with DHS, S&T for the past 6 years and evaluating their programs. In the latter part of your testimony, you listed a variety of barriers to successful transition of new technologies from the laboratory to the operational setting in the DHS components. Could you elaborate on what DHS can do to further the transfer of technology to users? And do you have any idea what has held DHS back in developing a strategy to address these challenges?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Lipinski. I would say there are two issues that have affected the ability to increase the involvement of social science research in DHS technology transition. One is the absence of a standardized process for inserting social science research that involves the end users and the customers and the DHS staff in the study design, the project implementation, and the assessment of the results. And I think that's primarily due to a lack of coordination within S&T around the social sciences. At one point, there was a division in S&T focused on the human factors. That division has been removed and merged in with another division, and staff have been eliminated.
Was there any particular reason that was removed that you know of?
I don't know the reason behind that. That's beyond my knowledge. I do know that many of the staff were retained, but the second barrier, I think, to the adoption is the number of staff that are focused on social science research methods at DHS. I think the first issue could be addressed with better coordination and planning and a standardized process for inserting evaluation of the customers and the workers in the R&D cycle. The second one is more of a staffing and budget issue.
All right, thank you. Dr. Riley, you mentioned in your testimony that after many years we're still lacking the analytic capability to measure the effectiveness of our border security tools and policy mechanisms. I understand your solution for measuring this is further investment in developing a strategy for R&D and investment in technology infrastructure. Considering there are various types of illegal border activity with no one-size-fits-all solution, what types of technology should we invest in to get the necessary data and models?
Well, in terms of technology development and investment in that area, I think one of the things I'd be looking for is a tighter and better designed requirements generation process so that we understand where the frontline providers of border security feel the need for new technologies and perceive the need for additional technology development. There's been some progress made in that area, but generally, for example, the connection between technology transfer and requirements development in DHS is not as mature as it is, say, in the Department of Defense.
And what's the reason for that? Just it has not been developed?
I think growing pains, and there are significant structural differences between the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security. But I think the mere process of trying to incorporate all of the different elements that went into DHS and get them functioning smoothly is probably a limiting factor.
Okay. And Dr. Maurer, Mr. Maurer, according to multiple GAO reports, the DHS is missing a strategic plan, which we had talked about. Further, it can't track its investments in R&D and thus cannot identify the total investment is made in R&D. GAO has made recommendations to solve these problems, but the DHS has been quite vague, saying it has taken some steps to update guidance. Since your office has been monitoring their progress, do you have an idea as to what has been getting in the way of developing this plan?
That's a really good question because we've been recommending this. Some of this goes back to a report that was issued 2 years ago. So DHS would be better placed to get the specific reasons. Our sense is that they've certainly made progress on defining R&D, so that's the first step. But we would like to see them develop a strategy for the whole department. We'd like to see them develop a way to clearly articulate what processes and coordination mechanisms need to be in place, have a more effective way of implementing the various R&D projects across the department. I would hope that the relatively new Undersecretary would take this on as one of his top priorities in his new role.
Very good. Thank you. With that, I'll yield back.